Thank you everyone for joining in this virtual session of Asian Population Conferences. I'm Sigma Ainul. I'm a Social and Behavioral Scientist at Population Council in Bangladesh office. Today I'll be presenting findings from a qualitative assessment that looked into sexual and reproductive health behaviors among the Rohingya population. It is a larger study, but today my talking point will be focused on contraceptive non-use among the Rohingya and the factors that drives their non-use. The study will also focus on in the after the displacement to Bangladesh in the Rohingya camps, whether there is any changing patterns we can see in their service uptake, and what could be the inroads uh, to understand and access this population better so that we can increase their service uptake and reduce the resistance towards contraceptive. So the Rohingya population has been fleeing to adjacent districts of Bangladesh for decades, but the recent influx that started in August 2017 has increased the fourfold of population, Rohingya population in Bangladesh, mostly in the Cox's Bazar two upazilas in Ukhi and Teknaf. So there is old Rohingya population and the new population in Cox's budget. Our study has been focused on the new influx, and this about this population, this new influx is fairly young. 60% of them are below age 18. So when government of Bangladesh has started to provide services in the scams, and developing partners and also join in hands, and UNEP was leading the response service for sexual and reproductive health crisis for adolescent girls and women in the camp. Then it became very necessary to understand the population, to design the program better. Because unfortunately, we do not have much data available on Rohingya population. Historically, they has been understudied due to the fact that they has been excluded in the censuses in Myanmar. So we do not know much about their demographic profile, their education, marriage status, or their sexual reproductive health behavior, maternal health service behavior, and so on. So our study is funded by UNFPA, and UNFPA first did demographic profiling to as part of their need assessment to design the response service for maternal and childhood. That study was done with ICT therapy, and from that study, we have some information about their population and their basic uh, behavior, and we need that. So I've referred to some of the statistics from that study. We found that among the Rohingya population, age at marriage and age at first pregnancy is fairly early, similar to our Bangladesh population. But the contraceptive prevalence rate is very low, 34%. And also the facility delivery and service uptake was very low. So followed by that demographic profiling, so our study that UNFPA funded to Population Council, and we did this qualitative assessment, was following up that study to understand that what are the factors that they are not uptaking the services as much as we expected. So what can be done to response to fit their needs better, so we can design the programs better. So as I said, so the objective was to understand the factors and the resistance that are driving their non-use of contraception and the low service uptake. This quality study was done in late 2018, so about 1 year after their displacement to Bangladesh and in the camps. It is collected in two time frames: data about the pre and post arrival to Bangladesh. We asked the question in 2018, what is their current practices now? What are they doing in the camps? But we also asked about what are their usual behavior and long-standing practices and norms when they were in Myanmar. So we took that data we took retrospectively. In the right hand side of the corner, you can see the location of the camps in Ukia where the study has been conducted. At the time when we conducted the study, the larger camp was further subdivided into 20 smaller camps, and we did um, collect data from 5 of the camps from different groups of respondents. So one major group of respondents was the adolescent and youth, both male and female, married and unmarried. We did in-depth interviews, 48 in-depth interviews with them. Also did in-depth interviews with program managers and service providers who are directly providing services to this community. We also did focus group discussion with the community and religious leaders. Religious leaders were imams, and there was also administrative leaders called machis, who are responsible for managing the blocks. Each small camps are again further divided into the blocks, and machis are responsible for administrative thing, for providing the rations, distribution of curds, and so on. So they are also very influential. So we took their perception because they have strong influence in this community. We did focus group discussions with elderly Rohingya women to capture their long-standing practice and the normative sense how they approach to sexual reproductive health. So moving on to findings, um, so I found that the religious teaching play a strong role, and it is there across all of the groups of respondents. I found that they believe that Islam has prohibited use of contraceptives, and this belief is again reinforced by their religious leaders. So I would like to cite a quote here from a married woman, age 21. The Hujurs, Muslim religious leaders, tell us not to use the contraceptive method. It is a sin. Allah made women fertile so that they can bear children. The other strong voice we have found that uh, they want to increase the Muslim clan, as there was a lot of killing in Myanmar, so they do not want to limit the children. So that is another major driving force for them to not to use contraceptives. Misinformation and stigma goes hand in hand with this religious teaching, and the most common thing that I've mentioned, that there's a major fear and distrust regarding the contraceptive methods. The most common is the thing that the contraceptives will destroy the reproductive system of a female and they will not be able to bear children in future again. Also, we have found that there's a strong, they try to make a strong association of contraceptive with the immoral behavior or promiscuity. I would like to read a quote here from focus group discussion with the Machis. Bad people use condom for going to bad place. Why would anyone use condom among family, between husband and wife? So also found there's a strong influence of the gatekeepers, and there's this the religious teaching and misinformation is again reinforced by these gatekeepers. Husband and mother-in-laws play a critical role in the decision making of women's fertility. Um, I would like to read a quote here from a married woman, age 20. I wanted to have Bill, but my mother-in-law restricted me. She says I'll die. My husband also did not let me. I tried several times in secret, but could not. Women want relief in their body, but husbands and their family want children. They say it's Allah's order. So these are the common perceptions and normative things that really hold them back using the contraception. As I mentioned earlier, that the study also tried to focus and to explore whether their behavior has been changed in the changing dynamics. Now they're displaced in the camps in Bangladesh, and also there is increased supplies of these contraceptive methods and the service So what are they using now? Whether any change has happened? So what across the all boards they have acknowledged that there's a benefit in using contraceptive for the sake of the health of baby and mother, and they also mentioned that um, in a changing situation, when they're in displaced, the being in the transient state has decreased the resistance to our conception, and more people are now using. So I'll read some quote here. In our society, people think more children as a good thing. This is Allah's will, but the case is different in camp. Here, living space is small, shortage of food, no money. Living condition is constrained and hard here. Women here should use contraceptive. Similar notion has been found from the focus group discussion with Majis. We are in now in a miserable time, neither Bangladesh nor Myanmar. We are now of nowhere. So if they drove us now, where will we go with so many children? For this, women are now using contraceptives. The other thing, the combination of the availability of contraceptive in the camp and also the group behavior, this combination has increased the contraceptive behaviors as reported by the respondents. More people are having pills here in the camp. Use of depot is more than before Myanmar because it is easily available here. Birth spacing is good for both mother and children. I think everyone should use it because now nothing is like before. The other interesting thing is that I found we have to, if we want to understand this population, if we want to provide services better this population, you have to understand some sentiments. Like birth spacing, have found that birth spacing is more acceptable to them rather than birth control. They think that birth control is prohibited in Islam, but Islam allows um, to birth space for the sake of the health of mother and baby. So that is also we have found from in our focus group discussion with religious leaders. They said yes, it's allowed for the sake of health of mother and baby. And also some contraceptives are more acceptable than others, and there are reasons behind that. I'll read a quote here from a focus group discussion with adult women. We have heard of implant. It is taken for 4 to 5 years, but we are afraid to receive this implant. If we insert and then we need to go back to Myanmar, how can we remove it there? Who will help us? This fear works in mind. If anyone dies with it inside the body, that will be of great sin. So, what the findings suggest that if we want to really access to this population, we have to understand what are the barriers from where they are speaking and how we can design the programs better um, to serve them and to increase the service uptake more. We have also did the interviews with the service providers, and the thing that have came out also from the service providers and also from the other respondents, that there is a lot of misinformation, there are a lot of stigma around it, and there are ignorance about contraceptive use and access and about their side effects. So community health education need to be prioritized, that the service providers feel. And they also suggest to engage different groups of actors, like to break the barriers of the gatekeepers, to engage the community members and religious leaders in designing the programs. And we need to pick the progressive one while we do it. Also, to work with the husband is very important because they're the strong gatekeeper for and to access to a man and to decide on their fertility choice. So mobilize majis can be a great way to do that, so that majis can work with husbands, and that's how we can access to this population. Also, it is important um, to engage the elderly Rohingya women because um, Rohingya population is very male dominated community, and to so diffuse the sole influence of male, we need to engage the females, and maybe the elderly one are the better suited for them so that they can um, work as a positive change for this younger group of population. The other thing is we need to understand this Rohingya population has been excluded from these services for a long time in the Myanmar. So they are not very habituated going to the service points. So it does not only enough to give the supplies and to uh, arrange the health services. We also need to be do the more outreach and taking the services in their doorsteps. So that because they are not habituated to come to the service point, so there is a psychological barrier. Even if there is abundance of contraceptive, abundance of service point, they might not come to the service point. So more outreach needs to be planned, and also to engaging the Rohingya volunteers along with the Bengali service providers can be beneficial. That's how we can gain trust in that community. And considering the low literacy level of them, health education need to be responsive to that. More visual, audio, um, uh, communication materials need to be used. So that's all for now. Thank you all for your patient hearing.